Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be mostly talking about the warranty that Tesla puts on its parts. So a question that might come up, which will help with knowing what we're talking about today, is if I do X to my car, is it covered under warranty? That's what we're going to be talking about today. There are a ton of modification companies out there. If you've been around my channel a long time, you've seen my Model 3 get essentially turned into another car based on all the modifications we've done to that. They're doing product reviews and whatnot and installs, all of that stuff. And hundreds of you guys have purchased a lot of these items and put them on your car. And I can't tell you how many times I've been asked, how does this affect the warranty? So I'm going to talk about that today and hopefully give you some kind of clarity on that. And you should always know that I'm not an expert on this, so don't listen to anything I say, but the reason why today I'm going to talk about it with a little more confidence than maybe the past is that as of right now, my Model Y is in the service center, and I spent about 45 minutes talking to them at the service center, specifically about the questions that I know I get asked all the time, and so hopefully you will leave this video today saying I have a little more understanding of how this service works and do I want to take the risk of adding these different things to my car. Now the sponsor of this video today is ca.temai, and if you've been around my channel for a while, you know that ca.temai has been here and they make amazing stuff, from phone holders to 360 sunshades on your car to nice little trays underneath of your front seats on your Model Y. These guys got a lot of the stuff you guys need, so take a second to go check them out. Don't forget to use my discount code down below. Alright, so this is how we're going to break this warranty thing down. Let's, instead of just talking about the generic way the law works, which we will do, we're going to also break it down by individual type of install you could do to your car, or a modification or add-on, and how that can possibly affect you getting work done on your car. We're going to do that because that's the way that I presented it to the service center. So the way that the law essentially works around this stuff is, a long time ago, I'm not going to get too much into the specifics of this, car companies were essentially saying if you do anything but our parts on the car, it voids the whole warranty of the car. So a law was created. I don't know when. I used to. Doesn't matter. Actually, you know what? It does matter. And we are actually going to talk about it because you should know what your rights are and know how to defend this if something actually does happen with your warranty and what to expect. So back in the 1960s, there were a lot of car companies that were really big into muscle cars, Ford and Dodge and all that, and building up their cars to be super powerful, big engines. And they were really promoting the aftermarket power modifications to make their cars super cool. But as years went on, what ended up happening was a lot of other manufacturers stopped actually covering the warranty if you started actually doing this to your car. And it was a big deal. And a lot of people were getting very screwed on this. So in 1975, an act was created called the Magnuson Moss Warranty Act. Now, this act did a lot to do with warranties, but one of the biggest things it does, especially in the context that we're talking about today, is this. The Magnuson Moss Warranty Act requires manufacturers to honor the original warranty unless they can prove that the aftermarket modification, either the parts or installation, was responsible for the failure that caused warranty repairs. Okay, so what is that actually saying to you? What does that actually mean? That means that when you install an aftermarket part on your car, that cannot void the warranty on your car. But there are exceptions to this. So let's break this down in a more simple way. If you're installing something on your car that is non-invasive, meaning you're not messing with the original part of the car, you're not splicing into anything, you're not manipulating the actual car itself, then it cannot void the whole warranty of that car. But where you can find yourself in trouble with these kind of things is if during the installation process, or if the product itself was the cause of the warranty work somewhere else, then they can charge you for it and blame it on that modification. But they can't just simply say, because you've done X to your car, your warranty is now voided. So let's just break this down, for example, with different types of installations. Let's go through some examples here. So maybe we'll go through some of the ones we have in my car. If you've been following my channel for a while, there's a lot of stuff we've done in my Model 3, okay? Let's start with the steering wheel. A lot of people nowadays put in the yoke steering wheel. It's kind of this hot thing. The Model S has it. I think the Model X has it now too, even though I heard they are coming out with the round models again, the round options. I had it in my Model 3 for a while. One of my sponsors sent that out to me. It was fun and everything. I switched it back to the round one because I just liked it better. But one of the things that the service center said is one of the biggest things they turn away warranty work for, is that yoke steering wheel if it's in a Model 3 or a Model Y. And I've had a lot of followers who have told me they took theirs in and they wouldn't work on the car because of the yoke steering wheel being in there. And that falls under the part of the law where it's talking about the installation or the product affecting some other part of the car, thus voiding the warranty on that. So an example of this would be if you have a problem with the autopilot system. Some part of the autopilot is not working correctly. According to the service center, what they said was because that steering wheel is weighted differently than the car is calibrated for, it's not the same geometry as what that Model 3 or Model Y is calibrated for. If they see it in there, they say, well, I can't properly diagnose this. This is not an OEM part. It's not even the same sort of thing. Therefore, I can't predictably say why the car is doing what it's doing, because maybe the steering wheel and it trying to turn it or something on its own is affecting it. So they won't even touch it for that. So you may get a service rep, if you get lucky, that will still go in there and work on the car, swap out a camera, whatever has to be done. But that is one of the biggest reasons that the service center said they don't work on cars with steering wheels. So how do you avoid this problem? Well, before you take your car in for something to do with autopilot, you just would swap the wheel back. And keep in mind, when you go in there and they tell you the warranty is voided now because you put that on there, all you have to do, and again, this is straight from the service center, is go back home, swap the wheel back out and come back again, and then they will work on the car. They just have to diagnose it in its original form for something like that to make sure that it's right, which in a way makes sense. Now, if you installed the steering wheel in the car, but now you're having lighting problems in the wiring harness, say inside of the car, maybe your ambient lighting has gone wrong and they see the manufactured or the aftermarket wheel on your car, that is in no way connected. There's nothing about installing a steering wheel in your car that could have anything to do with those lights. So therefore, they cannot use the modification of the steering wheel to say that the lighting in there has been affected by that. So they have to be able to prove, it's on them to prove that that modification you added, that it was affected and has caused that warranty issue. Now, you can also pay for the work to be done outside of warranty, or you can pay Tesla to swap out the car to its original form, and then they can then do the warranty work after that, but that's going to be additional cost. And of course, the service center has to agree to do it, but these are options that Tesla said they will do. Now, one of the biggest ones that they say they get are the modifications to the frunk and trunk. In the older Model 3s, there was no automatic power trunk or power frunk, and so I did it in my car. I know hundreds of you guys did it through our sponsorships and stuff and our discount programs. You guys bought the motorized frunk lifts in your car and trunk lifts. I installed them both in my car. Now, there's a lot of companies out there that to install these, you actually are splicing in to the actual wiring harness inside of the car, okay? When you do something like that, you are actually manipulating the original car. So doing something like that very well could void the warranty. Tesla Service Center can look at that and say, well, you've messed with what we stand behind. It's no longer the way that we sold it to you. Therefore, we can't support it. We can't back it up. We don't have to honor that warranty. Now, most of the good manufacturers, like Hanshao and the other ones that I've promoted here on the channel, they all use relays. So it's just a matter of clipping into the computer and relaying back into the system. Nothing is ever spliced into. Now, depending on the service center, they said they still may void the warranty on that. Not void as in won't work on it, but they'll say you need to put it back to original form, and then we'll be able to go and work on that if there was an issue with the frunk, say. Now, again, that's going to have no impact on the trunk. If you installed a wiring system on the front for the power frunk, and there's an issue with the trunk, but the trunk has been left alone, it can in no way have anything to do with that. It's only specifically what you installed and what it's being affected by what you installed that can be affected by that. And again, they still have to prove that it was because of what you did that caused that warranty work to happen, or that problem to happen when you're trying to get some warranty work done. Now, I specifically asked them, I said, okay, so I bring it into your shop, and you say, well, we can't work on this because you've got this power frunk installed. The relays are in there. We see you haven't tampered with Tesla's program itself, but we can't exactly diagnose it because you've got other wiring here and we don't do that ourselves. So you got to take this out. They say they can tell you to take it all out before they do the work. I said, okay, well, what if if that did ever come up before I came into the shop, or when you told me to, I climbed underneath there, unplugged the relay and plugged the original Tesla wiring straight back into the computer underneath that passenger's seat where the feet are, where the computer is. What if I got in there and just put it back to original, but I just left the wiring inside of the vehicle? I didn't strip it all out again, just so you could test it in its original form to see where the issue is. And he said, well, 90% chance that will be good enough, but it would still be up to the service rep to decide that at the time, the service tech. And there are other things to be aware of. For example, when you replace the lightings, like on the bottom of all my Teslas, I have the projection lightings down that shoot Tesla on the bottom of the car, or onto the road. Okay, well, those are aftermarket lights, and the relay and the full circuit for your windows to open up the window so your car door can open up when you unlock the door, that all runs through that light, which is why when you replace those lights, you see the window drop down a little bit and kind of acts kind of weird. It's kind of crazy when you unplug or plug in one of those lights because it's all one big circuit there. So if that light were to go out and your door were to get stuck, okay, if it was Tesla's original lights, it would be covered under warranty. They would come out and fix it, whatever they had to do. But because those lights are aftermarket, if your door was stuck, couldn't open it because you can't open the door to replace the lights, that would be an example of you're going to have to pay them because you're the one that added that aftermarket part. And because the aftermarket part failed, that caused the door not to open. And so the door's not opening because of a modification you put into the car. Now, that same thing could happen with Tesla's light, but it's Tesla's light. See, that's where it gets different. So if what you've done has affected something else, and that something else is what you have a problem with, that's when it's no longer covered under warranty. So therefore, that locking, the door opening, the window going down, all that is now your fault because you've installed a product aftermarket that caused all that. So you would have to find a way to get the door open, swap that light out, put Tesla's light back in. It should fix the problem. But if it didn't, as long as it's Tesla's light in there again, they can now test the whole system with its original OEM setup. Now then again, it will be covered under warranty. But it'd be up to you to get the door open and to get that light replaced. One of the big ones I get all the time too is with my heads-up display screen or my steering wheel screen right behind, not my heads-up, it's right behind my steering wheel. That square screen I have there is basically CarPlay. Okay, people ask me all the time, well, does this void your warranty? No, it absolutely cannot void your warranty. Why? It has in no way been manipulated or changed anything else inside of the car. It doesn't affect the steering wheel. It doesn't affect my lighting, the navigation system. Nothing is connected to that. There's just a relay into the computer system. So if my computer itself was having issues and they could prove that it was because of that screen, then they technically could make me unplug that screen out from the computer and then plug whatever other wires were back in so there's no more relay anymore, and then test it again and see if there was an issue. And if there was an issue, then it would be covered under warranty because, I mean, my product is no longer installed in it. But just by simply putting that in, it doesn't void any warranty on the car. So am I nervous about installing stuff? Absolutely not. I mean, I don't know. I've installed stuff for the last 3 years. I put over 100 products on my car, done insane amount of installs on my car. I've never had an issue. I've taken my car over 5 times into Tesla service station, fully loaded with all kinds of modifications and accessories. Never once had them ever say a thing to me about it other than, hey, that's pretty cool. Okay, I have pivot screens on there. You know, one question I get is if you put a pivot screen on your Tesla so it moves rather than just being stationary, does that void the warranty of the screen? This is another question that I asked directly to Service Center when I was there yesterday, and they said, if we can prove, because that's what the law says, if we can prove that it is the cause of what has damaged your screen or the motherboard or something in there, then they can void the warranty. Let's say your screen stopped working or something, and they looked and they saw the pivot screen there. If they could prove that in the process of installation, not just a product being there, but somehow that when you installed it, it caused that issue, then they could void your warranty on that screen. So again, that's where it gets kind of gray. Well, who gets to decide if it actually did void that warranty or not? And I don't know how. I mean, this is the part that gets hard. Okay, let's say that you know you're in the right on this stuff. They've come up with something crazy as a reason why they can't do the warranty. Maybe the service tech's having a bad day that day, and what you've done has nothing to do with the issue that they're describing. You would have to go to court over this to settle it, which is where it gets expensive, okay? And the problem with going to court over stuff like this is not only would you end up having to pay for your own warranty work, but you have to pay for all the legal fees, and not just yourself, but also for Tesla or whoever you're going up against. That's how these legal matters work. So, you know, you've got to be kind of careful and just know what you're getting into. It's for this reason that I only promote products and never talk about products here on this channel that don't require any sort of manipulation of the vehicle. You're not splicing into any wires. You're not cutting into the car. You're more or less just plug and playing. Everything in my car is just mostly plug and play, with a few exceptions from years back. So another example I'll give you on this of what does void a warranty is not the power trunkless, because those can, if like you're having an issue with like it sealing, for example, you know, if the trunk's not coming down all the way and the seal's not getting proper, and let's say water's getting into your trunk, but this is actually a problem that you have with Tesla when people do modifications to the trunk and frunk, you can get water in it because it's just not shutting right. Well, it's obviously not Tesla's system doing it. So they're going to say, well, even though maybe the seal has an issue, because the trunk itself was put together by you, they can easily blame it on the fact that the motorized trunk is just not closing it properly, and therefore the water issue, the leaking issue is your fault. And so that is something that can happen. So I've had people in the past who put those spring-loaded struts on the back of their trunk. You kind of just hit the button and it shoots up. There's no motorized function to it. It's just a spring. And people started getting water in the back of their trunk. I had a few people report it. They went to Tesla. Tesla said, we're not going to cover this. It's not our product. It's an aftermarket product. So what what my viewer had to do is they had to go home, put the OEM ones back on the car. So just put those back in the car and then go back to Tesla, and they fixed it under warranty. See, so it's one of those things where it's kind of like worst case, you got to just put it back to its original state if you have an issue. Best case, it has nothing to do with the problems of the car. You didn't do it yourself. The installation didn't do it, and it's covered under warranty, which is most people's experience. But that's how the law reads. The law specifically says, by adding an aftermarket part to a car, it cannot void the warranty unless the installation of the product itself has a direct impact and is the reason proven by Tesla that it is no longer, that it has caused the damage and thus the work is needed. So that's how that works. So should you go into putting an install with confidence? Yes, you should not worry about it. And again, remember, I'm not an expert at this, and you should not believe or listen to anything I say, okay? I've read the law. I've installed hundreds of stuff in cars. I've talked to a lot of service reps about this, and that's just what I'm showing with you now. But I'm not an expert. I'm not an attorney. I don't specialize in this area, so you really should not listen to me. But if you're curious about how all this works and what I say has any sort of value to help you kind of figure this out, that's what it is. So take it for what it is and have fun with your car. Now, if you do want to do all these installs in your car, and not only the sponsor team me this video, but there's a lot of others, I'll put them all down below in the description, all my discounts for all these guys, a lot of amazing stuff to customize your Tesla, personalize it to yourself, from steering wheels to brake caliper covers, whatever it is you need, down below in the description. Let me know if you have any questions about that. And if you have any questions about this as well, I probably won't answer them because I don't want to be liable, because I'm not. I'll do my best though. What I would definitely do is recommend you do your own research when it comes to doing any of this install stuff. There's tons of information about this. Just research that law, learn about it as much as you can. There's a lot of people that shed insight on this, and everyone pretty much agrees you're fine to do any sort of installations or modifications to your car in terms of warranty work. Just know which ones affect you and which ones don't. So that's going to wrap this video up. If you found this useful in any way, added any kind of clarity, or you just enjoyed the video, learned something, hit a like button for me down there. That helps send the video out into the YouTube universe. And of course, if you like full self-drive videos, check out our latest full self-drive videos. I do all the updates for the Teslas that come out, as well as all the different product reviews here on the channel. So if that sounds fun to you, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.